For more than 100 years, business pretty much followed a simple and honestly a pretty brutal formula. Take, make, and then dispose. But that straight line, that linear path, it's hitting a dead end. Today, a totally new model is rewriting the rules of the game, and it's all driven by one massive question. How do we build a greener future? So in this explainer, we're diving into that huge shift, from our linear past to a circular future. And make no mistake, this isn't some niche trend for a small group of people. This is a powerful market force. I mean, look at that first bar. A huge 77% of us would rather buy from greener companies. But what's really telling is that second bar. 2/3 of us are actually willing to pay more for sustainable products. This isn't just talk in a boardroom. This is the entire economy reshaping itself every time we decide where to spend our money.
So, here's the crucial takeaway. The old idea that protecting the environment was just a cost, a burden on business, well, that idea is dead. Today, sustainability isn't just some glossy report. It's a core strategy for getting ahead of the competition, for sparking innovation, and frankly, for long-term survival. The smartest companies out there know that the health of the planet and the health of their balance sheet are now two sides of the same coin. And this power that we have as consumers, it's not just a preference anymore. It's become a new, unwritten rule for business. And unlike the old regulations, this rule has some very real and very immediate consequences. And wow, this really spells out the risk of ignoring that new rule. 84%. That's not some fringe group. That is the overwhelming majority of your customers, and they are ready to walk away if you're not taking this stuff seriously. This isn't just about PR anymore. We're talking about real, tangible hits to the bottom line, losing customers, struggling to hire top talent, and watching investors get nervous. Doing nothing has become a massive business liability.
To really get why this shift is so urgent, we need to take a quick look at the fundamental economic model that got us here in the first place, a model that we're all starting to realize is, well, fundamentally broken.
For centuries, our whole economy is run on the model you see on the left, the linear economy. It's super simple and incredibly wasteful. You take resources, you make something, and then you dispose of it. It's a one-way street to a landfill. The alternative, on the right, is the circular economy. And the goal here is totally different. It's to close that loop, to keep materials in circulation for as long as humanly possible through reusing, repairing, and remaking.
Okay, so what exactly is the circular economy? Well, at its heart, it's an economic system that is regenerative by design. It's built to completely get rid of the whole concept of waste. Instead of throwing things away, we start to see them as valuable resources that can be fed right back into the system, creating this continuous, sustainable cycle.
And this isn't just one vague idea. It's a set of really clear principles. So first, you reduce what you consume and reuse what you can. That's priority one. Then, you focus on repairing and renewing products to make them last longer. And finally, for whatever's left, you concentrate on recycling and recovering the raw materials to make new things. It's a whole new way of thinking where just throwing things away is the absolute last resort.
And if you're wondering why this matters so much, well, just look at this number. The linear model is leading us right towards this. The World Bank projects that by 2050, we'll be generating 3.4 billion tons of waste every single year. I mean, a number that big is almost impossible to wrap your head around, but it perfectly shows the scale of the crisis we're facing and why we so urgently need a circular solution.
But okay, is this just a nice idea on paper? The really good news is, no, it's not just a theory anymore. Some of the biggest corporate giants on the entire planet are already putting these circular principles into practice, and they're proving that it can be done at a massive scale. Let's start with a tech behemoth, Microsoft. The company has made this huge public commitment to become a zero-waste company by 2030. And this isn't just about recycling paper in their offices. We're talking about a complete rethinking of their entire global operation, from their massive data centers all the way down to the products they sell to you and me.
And get this, they're not just talking the talk. They are making incredible progress. Just last fiscal year, Microsoft managed to reuse or recycle nearly 91% of the servers and components from their data centers. That just goes to show you that, with a real system and a real commitment, even the most ambitious targets are actually within reach.
Now this right here is so important. It gets to the very heart of the circular puzzle design. Microsoft's new Surface laptops got a super high repairability score, an 8 out of 10 from iFixit. And why is that? Because they were designed from the very beginning to be repaired, with over 11 parts that can be easily replaced. This is such a critical shift, building longevity and repairability right into the DNA of a product.
All right, let's switch gears and look at another giant, Amazon. They're tackling the problem from a different angle. Energy and logistics. They've already hit their goal of powering their operations with 100% renewable energy, and they did it a year ahead of schedule. Now their sights are set on making half of all their shipments net zero by 2030 and then becoming a completely net zero carbon company by 2040. It's a long-term, step-by-step strategy. Okay, so it all sounds pretty great, right? But let's be real. This kind of global transition is not a walk in the park. There are some very significant real-world roadblocks that we have to acknowledge.
Yeah, the barriers are pretty substantial. For starters, you've got the financial hurdles. The upfront investment in new tech and new processes can be really steep, especially for smaller companies. Then there are the technical challenges. Recycling really complex materials like our electronics is still incredibly difficult. Add to that a confusing patchwork of government policies that are different everywhere and a growing skills gap. We just don't have enough people trained in this new way of thinking, and you've got a really complex puzzle to solve.
And this brings us to a bit of a reality check. And honestly, it's pretty alarming. Despite all the talk and all the big commitments, the world is actually becoming less circular. Between 2018 and 2023, the percentage of materials we're cycling back into our economy actually dropped from 9.1% to just 7.2%. We're literally moving in the wrong direction, and that highlights this dangerous gap between what we say we want and what we're actually doing. So that's the big question, isn't it? Given all these challenges, how do we actually bridge that gap? How do we speed up this transition and start, actually building this circular future?
Well, it seems the path forward boils down to a clear, four-step strategy. First, companies have got to set ambitious goals that are actually based on science. Second, sustainability can't just be a side project. It has to be baked into the core of the business. Third, you have to invest in the technology and innovation that makes all this possible. And finally, and this one is key, no company can do this alone. It's going to take partnerships across entire industries.
And you know what's a huge game changer in all of this? Technology. This isn't science fiction. Things like IoT monitoring can boost how efficiently we use resources by over 37%. AI and blockchain can give us incredible transparency into our supply chains, tracking materials from start to finish. And digital platforms are already creating whole new business models based on sharing and reuse. These tools are absolutely critical to making the circular economy a reality.
Okay, so let's zoom out and recap the key takeaways here. This whole shift is being driven by powerful consumer demand. The best solution we have is the circular economic model. We're seeing real action from some of the biggest companies out there, but the transition is being held back by some pretty significant systemic barriers that we all have to work together to overcome.
And all of this leads us to one final, really important question. The theory, the technology, and the business case for circular economy, they're not in doubt anymore. The model is here. The real question now is for all of us, as consumers, as employees, as leaders, are we ready to truly embrace it?